you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. This message is sponsored by DGS, the Degenerative Gambling Society, aka Cap Nation Live. What's going on, everybody? Cap Nation Live. Welcome. Everything's out a little wacky-dacky here, but nonetheless, we're getting it rocking and rolling. What is going on, everybody? Welcome. Cap Nation Live, Thursday edition. Going to be live until about 1 o'clock Eastern time, and then I've got a function at my daughter's school. They are hosting a family Thanksgiving Day lunch. Why it's happening this week, I have no idea, but nonetheless. Or I guess it's because maybe they're out all next week. Duh. But nonetheless, we are here. We're ready to rock. We're ready to roll. We've got college football. We got NFL. We got NBA. We got college basketball. It's going to be a fun day today. It is going to be a fun day today. Premium Plays had the big sweep yesterday. There's a bunch of NHL. There is the big NHL guaranteed game today from our NHL guys that if you're not on, you're probably not going to want to miss because all they do is just deliver day after day after day after day. And if you're not on the NHL package, I bet you're kicking yourselves in the ass right now for not jumping on board that early bird sale. That is for sure, because them boys just be smoking it. Them boys just be smoking it. Les, good morning. Average Card Collector, good morning. Anthony, good morning. Light little crowd here this morning, little quietness, but that's okay. That's okay. If you guys want a giveaway, you better hit those thumbs up buttons and do it rather quickly because we ain't going to be here for long. We're here for a good time, not a long time. Just getting everything up and running, getting the live chat going, getting the live odds going, getting everything running. Joe, what's going on, man? Talk about getting hosed, having the over in the Golden State game yesterday. Talk about getting hosed. That game was flying over, and then they scored nothing in the fourth quarter. Wasn't even a massive blowout. Wasn't even a rout. So weird. But it's the NBA for you. John, thanks for jumping on board the NHL Guaranteed Game. Scott, I see you jumped on board my personal plays. Anthony, double dipping yet again. Glad to have you back on board for another day, Anthony. Raymond, jumping on board my personal plays for today. Glad to have you on board. CMM, good morning. Federo, good morning. It's going to be a good day today. We get NC State and Georgia Tech going at it. We get the Steelers and the Browns. That line coming down a little bit. That line coming a little more down to reality. Jesus in the house. What's going on, man? All right, so we've got 40, like legit, I got to be out of here by 11 my time, which is 1 Eastern, which it literally takes me 2 minutes to get to the car. My keys are on my other desk. So I got to grab those and go. That way I will not miss my daughter's. She had to buy tickets to this thing at her school. Little fundraiser. I think the kids are serving us lunch today. Even conned her into cleaning her. My daughter's got a huge playroom. And then her bedroom. Even conned her into redoing that. All right. So, if this thing opens, where shall we start? College football? Shall we start on college football? Or might as well. I'm already have it up on the iPad. You know, that thing's going to take forever to switch over. So, might as well start there. Might as well start there. NC State and Georgia Tech. NC State at Georgia Tech, they're on the road catching 8.5. That line has came down a tad bit. Total sitting over and under 51.5. Let's take a look at NC State. They're one game away from being bowl eligible. If they want to get the job done, their easiest task might be today against Georgia Tech, although they are on the road. They're coming off that 10-point loss to Duke last week, where they lost at home 29-19, where a game where we saw a total of 47 points. Before that, they've been a little wish-washy. Started out, I mean, they've been wish-washy all season. If you talk about them, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. They haven't won two in a. Or excuse me, they did win two in a row. Don't want to shortchange them because they did beat Cal and Stanford back-to-back, beating the West Coast teams. But they've also lost two in a row. That's the only time that they've lost two in a row was right before that, where they lost to Wake Forest and Syracuse, and both of those games were close games. They lost to Syracuse by a touchdown, and they lost to Wake Forest by 4 points. A lot of their games, I mean, this team should already be bowl eligible, but they've had a couple close breaks, bad breaks, that is. But nonetheless, going to be looking to get the job done today. Can they do it? And can that total go over 51.5? Well, Georgia Tech laying 8.5 would tell me that, they're going to have to put up at least 24 to 27 points themselves. NC State, that is, for Georgia Tech, assuming Georgia Tech was to cover the spread. Now, do I believe Georgia Tech's going to cover the spread? We will find out in this one. They're coming off that loss to Virginia Tech. They were on the road. They lost by 15, 21-6 in a super low-scoring game against Notre Dame. They lost to Notre Dame by 18. They held Notre Dame to 31 points, but they lost 31-13. Before that, they had a big win over North Carolina, high-scoring game where we saw 75 total points. They had that big win over Duke, 10-point win over Duke, 24-14, and that was at home. Here they are at home, and you look at their last home games. Lost to Notre Dame, beat Duke, beat Virginia Military Institute, beat Georgia State, beat Florida State at home, beginning of the season. They've got, not last week, but 2 weeks ago, coming off the bye, it wasn't showing up on my screen, but they did beat Miami at home 28-23. So don't want to shortchange Georgia Tech there. Don't want to shortchange that. Brian Carter, is the NHL guaranteed game going to be different? It's always different. It would never be the same as a regular play. Just like my game of the week will never be one of my personal plays. Yeah, the guaranteed play is always different. Can they do it? Can they do it? If you ask me in this one, I like Georgia Tech. I like Georgia Tech laying the 8.5. As far as the total goes, we've got to play on that. If you want to get on it, or if you want to know what we're on for the play, you got to get on board. But I will say I do lean towards Georgia Tech in this one. Don't have an official play on it yet, but I do like Georgia Tech here. I think there's something else where there's a good opportunity. By the way, first quarter total sitting at 10.5 at FanDuel at plus 104. I kind of like it, but I don't like that hook. I don't like the half. But it's enticing. It's definitely enticing. First half total sitting over and under 26.5. First half winner with the spread is Georgia Tech laying 6.5 in the first half. Can Georgia Tech be up by a touchdown in the first half? That's the big question. They're only laying 8.5 for the full game, and they're 6.5 in the first half. They're either going to blow them out, or it's going to be a close game. I see them winning by more than 2 touchdowns, if you ask me. But I think there's good opportunities in this game, specifically the total, either the under or the over. But again, we've got to play on that one. So we're going to streamline right through these. Okay, we're going to streamline right through these. Now, I will say, fourth quarter over 13.5. I like the fourth quarter in this one. Both of these teams are going to be playing right down to the wire. NC State, no matter how much they're down, they're going to be going for. If they're down big even if they're down big in the fourth quarter, they're still going to be trying their hearts out. They're one game away from being bowl eligible with only 2 games to go. So, and I don't think it's going to be a massive blowout. So I do like over 13.5 in the fourth quarter. If you get over 14, I like over 13.5. So as long as nobody's got to go for 2 and they miss it and you don't get screwed, I do like the over in the fourth quarter if you're doing a little look ahead. But let's go back to that marquee matchup between Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Just popping up the live odds for that one. This is going to be a fun game. This is going to be a fun game. I know on paper and in reality, when you look at the Browns, you're like, yep, trash. Yep, trash. Jameis Winston going up against Russell Wilson. Winston 7 TDs and 3 interceptions going up against his 6-2 of Russell Wilson. If you start looking at the Cleveland Browns and their 2-8 record. We talked about this, I believe it was on Monday when we talked about what things surprised us in football. I think it was Monday, right? And the Cleveland Browns only having 2 wins so far this season is definitely a shocker. CMM winner play is going to be out after the live show. Probably closer to 1 or 1:30. Mine won't be out until at least 2 o'clock Eastern time. I know there's early college basketball today. Premium plays will be out earlier, but my personal plays will not. I don't have any personal plays on early college basketball. No early college basketball for me. My college basketball is a later game. But yeah, premium plays will be out within, I would imagine, 30 minutes. So maybe while we're live. So they're already set. So just waiting for those to get posted. Hey guys, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. And then we'll jump into the NFL. And then we will jump into college basketball. Get you guys on a free play. And then I'm headed to my daughter's school for her little function. Be right back. All right, we're back. We're back, baby, we're back. All right, Steelers-Browns. Steelers at the Browns today with a little weather in the forecast. Woo! Supposed to be snowing around, 1 o'clock today? That's what they're calling for. The potential for snowy today in Cleveland. Snow shower starting at right about now, I believe. They're calling for some snow showers with heavy snow starting around game time. Heavy snow starting around game time. Heavy snow starting around game time. I don't know how many times I'll tell you that. Again, but when it comes to the weather, here is my take on weather. Because a lot of people go crazy. Oh, it's nasty weather. That game is going under. How many times have we seen whiteouts, blizzards, fucking tropical rainstorms, and you see 50 points scored? All the time. They make gloves. They make equipment that is designed to catch and throw balls in the weather. Does it affect it? Yes. Will it potentially create more turnovers? Yes. Can turnovers create more points and more, I almost said pointies, more points and more scoring opportunities? Yes, turnovers can create more scoring opportunities. which would equal more points on the board. Can turnovers prevent scoring, limit scoring opportunities, and keep points off the board? The exact opposite of what we just talked about. Yes, it can. How does that happen? When turnovers happen deep down in somebody's red zone and they flip the field, that prevents games from going over. That prevents points from being scored. How does it allow points to be scored? Well, same thing. You get turnovers deep in your own zone. You give it over to the Browns on the 20, you know they're at least going to get something. Now, if there's wind as well as the whiteout, it may affect field goal opportunities. But they can still kick the ball depending on the wind and the snow. Total on this one is low. Lowest total on the board for the entire week as of now, and I don't expect to see one go lower. The only one that would be close would be not even really close. I mean, if you look at the Vikings and Bears game on Sunday, that total's sitting at 39.5. But this one's sitting at 36.5. All right? So be careful when you're betting the total. Make sure you pick the right side. There is my disclaimer for you. What to expect? Well, what to expect in this one? I swear this iPad, it's not even that old. It's not even that old. When I click it and it's supposed to go from page to page for all my stats, and it doesn't, it makes me want to fire it into the trash can. All right, let me pull it up this way. Let's take a look at the Steelers, first of all. They have been getting the job done. They have won 5 straight. One of those was from Justin Fields, right? His 32-13 win over the Raiders, and then 4 straight wins for Russell Wilson and the Steelers. They're coming off their 18-16 win over the Ravens. By the way, the Ravens is one of the only 2 wins that the Browns have. The Browns beat the Ravens. Remember that one. The Browns beat the Ravens at their own medicine, too. When you look at, let's say, the Ravens game, when you start looking at the stats, well, Russell Wilson threw that ball 36 times. Warren had 9 carries for 41 yards. Harris had 18 for 63. What to expect? Let's go back to the Commanders game. When you look at those stats, Wilson threw the ball only 28 times. They were more run heavy in that game. Now, they did have Harris. He had 21 carries for 53 yards. Warren had 14 for 66. That was a close win over the Commanders. The Steelers could have very easily lost the last 2 games. It could have been completely flipped. I think the Steelers will run the ball more today just because of weather than we would normally see lately. Russell Wilson's just been airing it out. A hope and a prayer in the air. A hope and a prayer in the air for Russell Wilson. Now the Browns. They've lost 2 straight since beating the Ravens 29-24. Against the Saints, what did the Browns do there in their big loss? Winston threw the ball 46 times because that's what Winston does. He threw it for almost 400 yards. He had 395 and 2 touchdowns in the air. No interceptions. He was sacked 3 times in that game. Chubb had only 11 carries for 50 yards. Ford had 5 for 10. They only ran the ball 16 times. Before their bye, which was, 2 weeks ago, against the Chargers. So the Chargers was 3 weeks ago. Winston threw the ball 46 times. Chubb had 15 carries. Ford had 2. When you go look at the Ravens game, when they beat the Ravens, Winston had 41 passing attempts for 334 yards and 3 passing touchdowns. Chubb ran the ball 16, Foreman 5, and Winston had 2 carries himself. They have not been a big run program. Can they run against the Steelers? I think they're going to have a hard time running against the Steelers. I think Ford, I think Chubb, I think they're going to have their little key moments where they get a big run, not like a massive run, but like a big, when they get that big 8 to 12 to 14-yard runs, right? They're going to have a couple of those, but for the most part, I think that Steeler front line is able to limit what Cleveland can do running the ball. Winston is going to have to be Winston, and he's going to have to throw the ball. Now, will they be able to throw the ball with the wind, with the snow? With the snow, yes. With the wind, you just never know, depending on which direction it's going. But Winston's going to be throwing the ball. It's what Winston does. They're not all of a sudden going to turn into a massive running team with Chubb and Ford. As far as anytime touchdowns, obviously I love Harris at plus 110. Even Chubb at plus 155. They get down low, they're going to be giving it to Chubb. I mean, you might even take a look, at a Jerome Ford touchdown, anytime touchdown at plus 550. Greg, good morning. Nick, good morning. Henry, good morning. I think this will be a fun one. If you watch the daily free play video, I gave you guys a great prop. And that one's going up. If you snoozed, you losed on that one. If you snoozed, you lost on that one. Receiving props, be careful betting some of those. But remember, you're still going to see balls in the air today. Just because it's going to be snowing, just because there's going to be wind, doesn't mean they're not going to be passing the ball. Both of these quarterbacks are pass-heavy quarterbacks. They are both air it out, air raid attack quarterbacks, and it's going to be a fun game. Jaylen Warren over 12.5, I think is going to be a sleeper today. Jaylen Warren over 12.5, I believe will be a sleeper today at over 12.5 receiving yards for the Steelers. Ferrymuth over 20.5. I like this. I think we're going to see more short of those 4 to 7 yard routes with the snow. And then obviously you'll see some bigger long routes to Pickens. Obviously they're going to go deep to Pickens. They're not going to be throwing it to him, that's for sure. And I mean, Pickens, his total is 58.5. That's just one passing. I mean, that's just one huge pass for him. Two normal passing attempts for him. Just scurrying through the props. Jameis Winston, 2+ passing touchdowns is plus 255. We'll say I do like that. Winston will always be a pass-heavy QB. God, I looked at my fantasy lineup and I got 6 starters on a bye this week. You know that's rough. My, oh my. Curious what my team's going to look like when it's all said and done. Ooh. At least nobody playing today, so I don't have to worry about that. I don't think I have anybody on today's games. Just checking my fantasy team. Not looking like it. JJ, good morning. All right, nobody playing today. Greg Engel, thanks for jumping on board the NHL Guaranteed Play. Glad to have you on board for that. I'm sure you'll love winning on that one. Again, I like Jameis Winston, 2+ passing touchdowns at plus 255. Him to have 3, now do I think he'll have 3? I mean, we'd have to have an amazing game. We'd have to have a very offensive game for that one. But that's plus 1,100. Russell Wilson's alternate passing touchdowns, 2 is plus 260. By the way, them to have 2 each parlayed together is plus 781. 781. We've got a play on the side and the total on this one, which I already gave you guys my leans on it, basically, on which directions I was leaning on. I would definitely say it's hard not to take the Steelers. 3.5. I'm not a fan of the Steelers. You guys know that. I have not jumped onto the Steelers bandwagon since they put Russell Wilson at the helm. And remember, it was just not long ago, less than a month ago, where the Browns beat up the Ravens. The Browns, their record might be 2-8, but they're not a crazy bad team. They're not like an insanely bad team to where you've got to instantly fade them, instantly go against them. So remember that when you're picking whatever side that you're on. All right. Moving to college basketball, because I've only got about 20 minutes, and then I got to get off here to get to my daughter's school for that Thanksgiving function. Moving to college basketball. College basketball is already underway. And with the live show, you guys are going to get a good one. You guys are going to get an early good one at that, too. There's not a lot of games today, but I like college hoops today. There is not a lot of games, but I love college hoops today. In fact, let's take a look at NBA, then we'll go to college basketball, because then I'll get you guys on a free play and send you on your way. NBA today, only 4 games. Warriors game shafted me yesterday. I had the over, needed that for a, 3-in-1 day on my personal plays, and they end up with 197 because they scored 35 fucking points in the fourth quarter. They went 54, 57, 51, 35. Wasn't even a blowout. They just stopped putting up buckets at the end of the game. I think we needed 42 points to go over in the second or in the fourth quarter. We needed just 42, and we got to 35. NBA, when you lose, it's like, it comes out of nowhere and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. That's for sure. Pistons at the Hornets today. Devin, am I surprised Miami is losing to Drake? No, I stayed off of that game. Drake's a good team. Drake is they've always been a quality team. And remember, the game just started. The game just started. It's first half. First half. Down 10 points is nothing, Sorry, Clippers. Did I say Warriors? That's how tired I am. I did say Warriors, didn't I? No, Clippers. 197 in that game. Yeah. No, Clippers. That's how tired I am. It's funny because I had it up there and I'm looking and it says Clippers, right? Literally like the stats. And I'm looking right at it and that's how tired I am. I'm like, yeah. But no, am I surprised? No. No. Will Miami catch back up? It's possible. 10 points ain't nothing. 10 points is just 5 possessions. That's easy. Not even 5 possessions if you shoot a couple threes. A 3, a stop, a 3, a stop. 2 more, a bucket, a stop, a bucket. Or throw in some fouls there and it's quick. But no, not surprised. Especially with Miami away from, the home court. All right, so NBA. Back to the NBA. Pistons and the Hornets today. Ooh, Pistons and the Hornets today. Pistons 7-9, Hornets 5-9. Detroit laying 2 on the road. Pass. A pass. You like how quick that was? A hard pass. I think the over's got a chance in this one. Sitting at 220. I do lean towards the over on this one. Timberwolves and the Raptors. Raptors catching 8 at home. If you look at the games we've given out, we've definitely been on a fade the Raptor program. They're catching 8 at home. Do I think it's enough? I don't. Timberwolves, their last game, they edged out the Suns by 3 as well. I like Timberwolves today. Jazz and the Spurs, I like nothing about that game. Magic and the Lakers. Lakers laying 4.5 would probably be the play that I would have to make on this game. I would rather Lakers money line, but it's minus 198. I don't want to lay 2-1 on them. So to me, as of right now, unless something shifted in that line, it'd be a pass. All right, moving right along. Scooting back over to college basketball, getting you guys on something early today as promised, because I am making it to my daughter's Thanksgiving luncheon at her school, where she gets to serve us and have lunch with us. So it's going to be pretty fun. Super excited about that. Had to buy tickets. She brought us home tickets. So I joked with her mom, right? So her mom's engaged. And she was like, yeah, Daddy, you're coming tomorrow, right? I'm like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I? And she's like, well, this is going to be fun. It's mommy, daddy, daughter date night. So I text her mom that. And her mom was like, fuck off. She's like, fuck my life. I'm like, yeah, send that to your fiance there, lady. Will there be a members only parlay? Possible. If I make one, I will put one out. But I'm not promising you one because I haven't made one yet. And when I get done with the little luncheon at my daughter's school, I'll be back here knocking out some more stuff. And at that time, I'll sit down and really dive into it and see. I'm not a huge fan of the game by itself. I'm not a huge fan of it. And I'd rather load you guys up on the weekend with some extra content than give you something that I'm not going to bet. You know what I mean? I think if I'm not betting it, I'm not going to give it to you. Plain and simple. It's the way it works. So I'm not going to go bet one and then, just for the fuck of it. Usually I use, the same game, no sweat tokens or the big 50% profit boosts on it because it makes it worth it to do them. I don't do a lot of big parlays. There's none available, surprisingly. I think there's a 30% on all live wagers. But I will definitely sit down and look at it and see if I can find one. And if I can, then I will definitely post it. But if I don't, I'll get you guys something maybe tomorrow in NBA or college basketball too. But no, they're not always going to be football days or football parlays, even though they're fun. They got to be something that I want to bet. And after the last 2 weeks, I've definitely tightened up what we're betting. So, look, going back to the Miami game. Devin, am I surprised? No, they're only down 5. They got half the lead back. They're only down 5 now with 3 to go in the first half. All right, Oklahoma State, Florida Atlantic. I know somebody said that they like LaSalle today, laying 1.5 or 1. That line is 1.5 now, or minus 120 on the money line. To be honest, minus 1.5, having to win by 2 to cash, and you got to lay 110. I would lay 10 cents all day long on LaSalle minus 120 and take them on the money line if I was betting that. Long before I took the 1.5 minus 110. Long before. Oklahoma State catching points here, plus 1.5, minus 102. Florida Atlantic laying 1.5, minus 120, plus 106 for Oklahoma State. Over and under in this high-scoring affair of 162.5 with a super high-scoring total up on the board. First of all, I do lean towards the over, but I do not have a dollar on it. Lean towards the over, but do not have a dollar on it. Fast B, unfortunately, I'm not going to have a chance to take a look at it because I got to get out of here and get to my daughter's school. Raymond, good morning. Manuel, good morning. Average card collector, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, JJ, I do like LaSalle today. I do like them in that game here coming up. But the Oklahoma State game. Oklahoma State 3-0 on the season. Can they win? Can they win away from home? That is going to be the big question. They got wins over Green Bay, St. Thomas of Minnesota, and Southern Illinois. This is going to be a test for them on the road against Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic has already played 5 games. They are 3-2. Started out the season with a big win over Indiana State, 97-64. They smashed up College of Coastal Georgia, 99-49. They ended up losing in a NBA point scoring style game against UCF where there was absolutely no defense, where they lost 100-94. Then they lost to Charleston in a game that had more points than the Clippers game last night, way more, where a game where they lost 119-116. If they get into a shootout with zero defense, they lose, even against shitty teams like Charleston. Against Liberty, they beat them. They beat them 77-74. We're taking Oklahoma State plus the 1.5 all day today, all day tomorrow, and all day the next time. Now, if you'd let me bet them, 10 different times today, I would be betting them every single time. OK State plus the 1.5. It's minus 102. Look at the alternate lines. Let me see. You might be able... I don't think we're going to get anything better than that with FanDuel's alternate lines. I mean, you could even get plus 4.5 at minus 166. I'm not going to say that, that's not a bad bet there. You got to lay a little bit more juice, but I'd rather have them at 4.5. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. Oklahoma State wins the game outright today. But the difference between taking them on the money line and the plus 1.5 is 8 cents. All right, catching 1.5 points means we can lose by 1 in a close game. The juice is minus 102. Or you can get plus 106 and take them on the money line and they got to win by 1. So that's a 2-point differential there from losing by 1 to win, being tied to winning by 1. What is that, 3-point differential technically? So for me, I'm taking the plus 1.5 at minus 102. And in fact, I'm gonna wait on betting this. Now, this game is an early game. This game starts at 2:30 Eastern time. So this game starts in an hour and 45 minutes. But I'm telling you guys, wait. I honestly think we'll get plus 2. Okay? It should be one good bet away on Florida Atlantic to get the game at plus 2. So, with that being said, I am waiting again. Another game I'm waiting to get a better line. I'd rather have plus 2 than plus 1.5. Why? Let's just say we lose by a bucket at the end of the game because it's closer than I think it's going to be. At least I'm pushing rather than losing at plus 1.5. So, going to put that in the comment section. I'm waiting. I will now, if that juice starts coming up to, normal juice on the plus 1.5 side, then I'll go ahead and bet it. But if it stays at minus 102 or gets even better, I'm going to keep waiting. All right? I mean, depending on the bets, we might even get lucky and see plus 2.5. But this late in the afternoon, and it only being an afternoon game, if this game was a 4 o'clock West Coast game, 7 o'clock on the East Coast game, this line would be probably 3 to 4. Because the public would just be absolutely betting it up. Now, as far as the total goes, I do lean towards the over, but I don't have a dollar on it. Don't have a dollar on it. Don't like the total. I don't like betting, college basketball totals that get into the 160s. It's just something that I steer clear of when available. Will Miami come back and win? I mean, they're battling back now. They were down 6, or they were down 10, then they were down 5. They're down 6 right now, I believe, right? Shooting free throws. They're favored laying 3.5. They're minus 194 on the money line right now. Live, they're minus 194 money line, so they should come back. You know, the odds are for them to come back. They're down 5, minus 196 on the money line. You're laying 2-1 to Miami, down 5. So, yeah, they should. Ronald, what's going on? Literally logging off of here to head to my daughter's school for their Thursday luncheon where they get to serve their parents. So, her mom is going, and I'm going, and we get to go have a sit-down lunch at her school where she gets to serve us. Thanksgiving lunch. Shit better be smoked turkey, mashed potatoes, and gravy. I don't want no cafeteria food. Just kidding. I'm just going just to be with my little one. They're down 7 now, 34-27. Drake made that 2. They should come back. Now, if they're down 10 or 12 at the half, they're minus 130 on the money line now. See, it literally just went from 196 to minus 130. Devin, my game of the week is tomorrow on Friday. The only thing today is the big NHL guaranteed play. The NHL guaranteed play is today if you guys want. And those boys just keep winning. Brian Watson knows. Those boys just keep winning. If you want a big one, that is the one to be on today. And all those guys do is just keep pounding the books. Pounding the books one at a time, week by week. So if you want a big one, go get on that. It's already posted. Premium plays will be out shortly. My personal plays will be out as soon as I'm done with my daughter's luncheon. I'm coming back. I will wrap up my personal plays as well as look to see if there's a members-only parlay that we can make today. Again, remember, disclaimer, if I'm not going to bet one, I'm not going to just throw one out there for you guys to do. So if I'm not betting it, you're not getting one. I'd rather hold back a video and a play because I'm not betting it than just randomly give you guys something. Big boys need to eat, right? Hey, I'm down 7.5 pounds this week. Legit. My doctor's got me on some good shit because of the high blood pressure, so we're working on it. All right, I got to run. Got to get to her school. Premium plays should be posted anytime now. They told me before we went live that they'd be posted by, I think they said within an hour, so we're getting pretty close to it. So look to see those up there, and then we'll see you guys all during the live show tomorrow. Fun live show tomorrow, so don't miss the live show tomorrow. Be prepared to hit that fucking thumbs up button. I'm tired of not giving away packages, all right? Tired of not giving away packages. All right, guys, I'm out. Enjoy your day, and I'm going to go spend some time with the little one at her school. Good luck, everybody. Remember, wait to bet that to check the line. I think we're going to